Let's be honest. When you think of a streamer, you think of Netflix or Max Apple TV Plus for years. Felt like the little engine that couldn't, or maybe the little engine that nobody noticed. Too few shows, too focused on prestige. But that was the master plan all along. While others focused on quantity, Apple TV Plus has been meticulously cultivating quality, a strategy that has paid off with some of the most daring, critically adored, and talked about shows of the decade. We are diving deep into the DNA of the Apple Originals lineup. And we have to start with the show that literally broke the internet's brain. Imagine a life split perfectly in two. A surgical procedure that separates your work consciousness from your home life consciousness. Your innie knows nothing of your outie. Your outie knows nothing of the dark, bizarre secrets of a 9-to-5 job. We are talking, of course, about Severance. This isn't just a show. It's a terrifying, beautiful philosophical puzzle box. It is a slow-burn mystery wrapped in unsettling corporate satire, and every episode feels like a step closer to a terrible revelation you can't look away from. Adam Scott's performance as Mark Scout is an absolute masterclass in quiet despair, and the production design of Lumen Industries is pure, chilling genius. From the moment the pilot ends, you are hooked. You will spend your days thinking about the waffle parties and the mysterious goat room, desperately trying to piece together the truth before the characters do. If you have been searching for a dark, challenging masterpiece that actually makes you think, stop right now. Severance is your next obsession. And Tazzy, this is the brutal reality of intelligence work, and it's completely unputdownable. Once you meet the slow horses, you will be rooting for them in every near-fatal situation they stumble into. If you consider yourself a fan of smart, character-driven thrillers, Slow Horses is your new gold standard. Now, prepare for a quantum leap in scope. The next two shows are for the viewer who craves epic, massive-scale world-building and high-concept storytelling that literally spans centuries and solar systems. First, Foundation. Based on the legendary foundational works of Isaac Asimov, this show takes on the colossal task of depicting the collapse of a galactic empire and the rise of a new civilization. The visuals are breathtaking, some of the best special effects ever put on television. The story is a dense, powerful meditation on history, destiny, and the power of mathematics to predict the future. It's ambitious, it's complex, and it rewards dedicated viewing. If you love shows that feel like epic movies, that drop you into rich, imaginative worlds, and ask you to ponder the fate of humanity, then Foundation is an absolute masterpiece waiting for you. And speaking of vast, contained worlds, have you ever wondered what would happen if the entire human race had to live underground, hundreds of stories deep, sealed off from the toxic surface? That is the world of Silo. This is one of the greatest recent science fiction debuts, a terrifying mystery box where the simple act of asking questions can get you killed. Rebecca Ferguson is mesmerizing as Juliet, an engineer who becomes a sheriff and starts to uncover the deadly secrets the Silo's founders are desperately trying to keep buried. The world building is flawless, the atmosphere is suffocating, and the paranoia is infectious. This show is a constant game of who can you trust, and the reveals are truly jaw-dropping. If you love the oppressive atmosphere of early dystopian classics, Silo is a must-see. Let's step back to reality, or at least a deeply altered one. A world where the space race never ended. For All Mankind is, arguably, the single best show on Apple TV Plus, and perhaps the best ongoing drama on television. Full stop. The premise. What if the Soviet Union landed on the moon first? This simple change of events spirals out to create an incredible alternate history that stretches decades, fundamentally changing the Cold War, technology, and the role of women in the space program. It is historical drama, high-stakes thriller, and family saga all rolled into one. The characters are rich and flawed. The stakes are always life and death, and the story manages to be both nostalgic and wildly futuristic. Every new season leaps years ahead, creating a propulsive, constantly evolving narrative that is impossible to stop watching. Trust me on this one. Start For All Mankind and try to stop. You won't be able to. Now for a turn into the dark side. True crime, but elevated. Blackbird is a stunning, intense psychological thriller based on a true story. It stars Taron Egerton as Jimmy Keene, a convicted drug dealer who is offered a shot at freedom if he can go undercover in a maximum security prison and get a confession from a suspected serial killer before it's too late. The claustrophobia, the tension, and the sheer dread are palpable. It is a terrifying dance between two brilliant men, and Edgerton's performance is career-defining. This limited series is a perfect, agonizingly tense watch that proves Apple TV Plus can produce prestige drama that competes with any major studio or network. Finally, for something completely different, something hilarious and heartbreaking. Shrinking. From the minds behind Ted Lasso, this show stars Jason Segel as a grieving therapist who decides to radically break the rules and start telling his patients exactly what he thinks. It's a comedy about grief, and it manages to balance gut-busting humor with incredibly emotional, raw moments. Throw in Harrison Ford in one of his best comedic roles in decades as the grumpy, brilliant senior therapist, and you have a show that is instantly relatable and wonderfully therapeutic to watch. It is a show about finding connection in the wreckage of your life, and it's the perfect, warm companion to Ted Lasso's kindness. So, why are these shows, this service, still flying under the radar for so many people? It comes down to a fundamental difference in philosophy. While other platforms are suffering from streaming fatigue, that endless, paralyzing choice of too much to watch, Apple TV Plus is offering an antidote, the premium diet. They don't need 100 mediocre shows to justify their price. They need one Severance, one morning show, one for all mankind to prove their worth. They are betting on the idea that you, the discerning viewer in 2025, are tired of scrolling and want to be told what's good, knowing that the curated list of Apple originals is almost entirely gold. You're paying a little more for a service that respects your time. A service that says, we made fewer shows this year, but we ensured every single one of them was a masterpiece. Look at the evidence. Coda won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Ted Lasso dominated the Emmys. Severance and Slow Horses are constantly topping critics' lists. This isn't just good TV. This is cultural event television. The price of admission, even if you're not in the Apple ecosystem, is a steal compared to the sheer volume of high-quality, must-see stories you'll find. The free trials are generous. The content library is meticulously crafted. The streaming wars are no longer about who has the most subscribers or the largest library. They are about who can consistently deliver a story so compelling, so well-made, that it becomes a non-negotiable part of the cultural conversation. And right now, Apple TV Plus is building a fortress of exactly those shows. So, here is your challenge. Stop scrolling through the endless, algorithm-driven suggestions on your current platform. Pick one of the shows we've talked about today, Severance, Slow Horses, or For All Mankind, and watch the first 2 episodes. You will not be able to stop. You will realize that the best-kept secret in streaming is no longer a secret. It's a full-blown content revolution. The streaming giants are shaking. The prestige crown has been quietly claimed. Don't be the person who hears about these shows a year later. Go claim your front row seat to the best television being made right now. Your next, all-consuming binge awaits. Imagine clocking in, having your entire life, your memories, your personality, wiped clean, only to return to that same desk the next morning with no memory of what you did for 8 hours. You are 2 people sharing one body, and neither one knows the other. This is not science fiction. This is high-concept, psychological terror wrapped in the most sterile, unsettling office design you have ever seen. Every visual cue, every line of dialogue, is a breadcrumb leading to a massive, earth-shattering conclusion. The payoff is so immense, so perfectly executed, that the silence after the credits roll is deafening. You'll be obsessing over the implications for weeks. This is appointment television at its most severe. You must see how it ends. Quick sound transition, a sharp, ascending musical scale, then a sudden burst of warm, acoustic guitar. But wait, what if the psychological terror is too much? What if you need something that doesn't crush your soul, but heals it? Apple has the counterpunch ready, and it hit like a tidal wave. Ted Lasso. We were promised a comedy about an American football coach managing an English soccer team. What we got was an emotional surgery for the American male psyche. This show takes the cynic in all of us and forces you to put down your armor. It weaponizes unrelenting optimism. It's witty, it's sharp, but beneath the hilarious banter is a raw, unflinching look at anxiety, divorce, and finding your purpose when everything falls apart. Jason Sudeikis is perfect. The supporting cast is flawless. This isn't just light viewing. It's essential viewing for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider. It proves that kindness isn't weak. It's the ultimate superpower. Music shifts to a dramatic newsroom sting. From the locker room to the broadcast booth, the stakes get even higher. The morning show. This is the insider drama where the glamour is just a thin veneer over a foundation of pure corporate toxicity. Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon aren't just acting. They are locking horns in a Shakespearean battle for relevance, power, and truth in an era when truth itself is a commodity. The show doesn't shy away from the toughest headlines of the last decade. It dives into them, drags them into the bright studio lights, and lets the whole world see the scorched earth underneath. If you think you know how the news business works, this show will show you the brutal, unscripted reality happening off camera. Every episode leaves you breathless, waiting for the next bombshell leak. A metallic, heavy industrial sound underscores the next section. Now forget the news. Let's talk about surviving on the edge of history. The alternate history that is so convincing, so grand in scope, it redefines cinematic television for all mankind. The premise is terrifyingly simple. The Soviets landed on the moon first. That single event changed everything. Suddenly, the space race never ended. It escalated into a perpetual, high-stakes global war fought in orbit and beyond. This show is a generational epic. It's about the sacrifices made by astronauts, engineers, and their families over decades. The production value is unmatched. You are watching history rewrite itself with explosions, political betrayals, and moments of sheer human triumph. If you love layered storytelling that rewards long-term attention, this is the deepest dive you can take. Music becomes dark, driving, and relentless, like a covert operation. Let's get gritty. Let's get real. If you want espionage that smells like stale coffee and regret, you need to meet the cast of Slow Horses. This isn't the glamour of MI6. This is the dusty basement of MI5 rejects. The agents too incompetent, too volatile, or too disgraced to fire. They are the screw-ups, the absolute bottom of the intelligence barrel. But when the real threat emerges, these forgotten men and women are the only ones messy enough to save the day. Gary Oldman as the repulsive but brilliant Jackson Lamb is one of the all-time great television performances. The writing is razor-sharp, dripping with cynical humor. It's bleak, brilliant, and totally addictive. You'll find yourself rooting for the underdogs who are literally one mistake away from total ruin.